Guys, it's been a long time coming, but I'm proud to announce that my hands are finally registered with the International Registry of Lethal Hands. This is the only place where your God-given gifts of danger can get the recognition that they truly deserve. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would anybody need to register their hands as lethal? Let me break it down for you. There are those among us whose hands are so downright dangerous, they need to be documented. Registration is a moral responsibility, and it's a vote for the greater good of humanity. The sole mission of the International Registry for Lethal Hands is to catalog the most formidable hands on the planet. So if you know someone, and you even suspect they possess lethal hands, do not hesitate. Register them immediately. And if you've ever looked at your own hands and thought, damn, these dogs are dangerous, don't settle. Go register. Head over to registeryourhands.com, fill out a simple form, and you're official. Remember, use the promo code Chael to save 20%, or just click on the link below. Gable Steveson coming to MMA, what should we expect? And what in the hell would that have to do with Jake Paul versus Tank Davis? Well, lots. First off, one of the tremendous lies that you've ever been told is that it is a size advantage. Every time we put a big guy with a less big guy, the less big guy beats up the big guy. Every time. And then you have some what-offs where you just have very large men. Tyson Fury comes to mind. Mike Tyson never weighed more than any of his opponents. In fact, not only are you told it's a size advantage, you're then told that there's a reach advantage. Mike Tyson never weighed more than an opponent or had longer arms than an opponent. Muhammad Ali, at the time that he became the world heavyweight champion, was one of the smallest heavyweight champion at 198 pounds. So we are proven time and time again that it is a size disadvantage. And the larger place that you see that is in the stand-up. Size very much does matter in grappling. And size will very much favor the heavier of the two when they're grappling. But when they're standing up, it's a disadvantage, and the lighter guy can move around a little better, and he's just a little bit faster, and his combinations are just a little bit more, and his ability to defend and get out of the way, again, referencing back to the speed or the speed deficit, is all in his favor. So what should we expect out of Gable Steveson? Well, there's a point where size doesn't help. And that's not always. For example, Brock Lesnar was a very big guy, and he was able to use that size to his advantage. Steve Mocco was a very big guy, just to use the greats from American wrestling that tried to transition over into MMA, and that size ended up not being as helpful. So what do you make of it for Gable? I got to tell you, right out of the gate, I'm a little confused how we got here. Had Gable called me and said, Chael, I want to be into the UFC, I would have had him in the UFC within moments. It probably would have taken a little bit less than 1 hour. That's a literal statement. So I'm a little confused as to how we got here in the first place. Now the announcement of this fight is, let's call it September 14th. Could be the 13th. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I do know that Gable's next scheduled professional bout is at the end of August, and it's a completely different sport against Craig Jones, which is a completely different style. And that style and dealing with Craig would take all of your mental focus, no matter what good athlete you are. But it doesn't look like that is possible. I don't believe that it's possible to put your full focus into Craig Jones. The one position that you know this match is going to be in, because it's the one position that you know Craig is going to force right off the top, which is come to me. I'm down here and you're on top. And now we get an announcement of an MMA fight. And I'm all for it, by the way. I'm just confused how we got here. Somebody speaks for Gable. And that somebody does not have the contacts that the youngest Olympic champion in history that you would perceive that they have. let's move on from that. How serious is he going to be in his preparation? Because one thing that we've seen about wrestling is it's really not very effective in MMA, is it? Now, the wrestler is. The wrestler can deal with the pressure. The wrestler can step out there with how to team, without timeouts, with how to substitute. The wrestler can grind and dig deep and find a way to have more points than the other guy when time runs out. Those are all things that come with the wrestler. But wrestling, it hadn't worked since the 90s. You've had a contest where the better wrestler goes on and wins just on proxy of being a better wrestler. You've never seen a fireman's carry. You've never seen a low single. You've never seen a swing single for that matter. You've never seen a high crotch. You've never seen a dump. You've never seen a high crotch to a lift. You've never seen a front headlock. You've never seen a front headlock to a snap down, to bury in the hole, to go behind. You've never seen a Granby. You've never seen an inside stand-up. You've never seen an outside stand-up. You've never seen anything that wrestling has, because wrestling is not overly effective. The wrestler is, and two moves in wrestling translate to the octagon. A double leg, and then work from a body lock. Whether you got one arm trapped or you got a bear hug situation, a double leg from the open and body locks are the only techniques that carry over. So it's not going to be rocket science for Gable's opponent to figure out, I got a really big guy, and no other really big guy can move lightly. That's why in the history of boxing, aside from Tyson Fury, who stands 6'8", there's never been a champion that tips the scale. Ever. In the history of boxing, the world's oldest sport, there has never been a champion that tips the scale. Are you listening to what I'm saying? That's really quite an amazing detail. Because in the game of fighting, ultimately what you're talking about is I touch you and you don't touch me. You're playing a game of tag. I got to use my feet, my elbows, my knees, and my hands, but I touch you and then I move so that you don't touch me, and then I touch you again and I move so that you don't touch me. Now, if anybody can play this game, it's Gable Steveson. If anybody can deal with pressure and go out there and compete, whether he's got the right team speaking for him or not, that's about as far as I could go with giving him a hard time. He does need experience, and this is a great place to go and get it. But I am curious. I would just go down as curious. Is all of his focus for the time being on dealing with this position against Craig Jones that he's going to see at the end of this month? Or is part of the day on that and the other part is in MMA? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know where this preparation is taking place. I've heard when Gable speaks about his MMA that he speaks about it with that team that changes their name constantly, and I believe they're currently called Kill Cliff. I believe that is who he associates with. But I also know that his next competition isn't MMA. It's against Craig. 2 weeks following that, we're back into MMA. And Gable has what it takes to deal with Craig. And Gable has what it takes to succeed in the LFA event. I'm purely as an outsider looking at it saying, there's not very many athletes that can do both. But there's not very many athletes like Gable Steveson. He is very rare and he is very special. He's not, from a technical standpoint, any better than Cejudo was. And he's not, from a technical standpoint, any better than Aaron Pico was. Just to put it for you in perspective. He comes from a sport that has two moves and only two moves that translate. A double leg in the open and a body lock. And if anybody has sat him down and explained that to him, we're in a lot better spot than if he goes out there and he has to figure it out on the fly, like so many guys that came before him. And it doesn't have a lot to do with the opponent. The opponent knows when you're not touching me, the only thing I have to worry about is a double leg. When you are touching me, the only thing I have to do is worry about a body lock. I mean, these things can be dealt with to a degree very quickly. But I don't know what sport Gable's on. And if he goes out and he's able to have success in both with Craig Jones and in the LFA, I think that would be a tremendous feather in the cap of the athleticism that is Gable Steveson. Does that mean that he stays? He never had dreams of beating Craig Jones, and he damn sure never had dreams of doing well in the LFA. He had dreams of being an Olympic champion. He had dreams of being in the NFL. He had dreams of being on Monday Night Raw. So does he use these as a springboard to return to what he really wants to do? Or do we all just play along, like taking on Craig and by golly in the LFA was the goal all along? Because I can assure you it wasn't.